a high school girl who was told she had only a short time left to live, had been crying, then suddenly clutched her chest, turned pale, and crouched down. She then lost consciousness and fell to the floor. I, working as a janitor in the hospital, called the attending physician, who immediately showed signs of panic. "This is bad, she won't last another 10 minutes. Can't you do something?" I pressed the doctor, who looked even more distressed. "This is beyond me, that procedure is too much for me to handle." I had heard that the attending physician was always an excellent doctor. Yet here he is, daunted by a difficult surgery. So, should we just give up like this? I made up my mind and told the attending physician, "If that's the case, then I'll do the surgery. 10 minutes is all I need." The attending physician couldn't hide his surprise at my unexpected statement. And this surgery would become the dawn of a future no one could have imagined. My name is Jack. I work as a janitor in a hospital, taking on this job for the first time in my late 30s. It's often seen as the bottom rung in the hospital hierarchy, but I've found it surprisingly deep. Come on, once you're done mopping, it's time to move on to disinfecting, okay? That's what White, a 20-year veteran in this field, tells me as she teaches me the ropes of cleaning. Places like this, where a lot of people touch, need extra care when disinfecting. Well, I didn't know that, as I was impressed with White's explanation and cleaning. A call came from the women who were wiping down the opposite side of the lobby. "We're done on this side, could you take care of the inside waiting area next?" "Sure, got it." Listening to the senior crew's interactions, I continued with my task at hand. The vast hospital lobby can be cleaned in no time when working together with teammates. It's inefficient for one person to sweep while another handles the wiping. By cooperating with each other, the cleaning crew can quickly clean areas with high foot traffic in a short amount of time. But Jack, when you're wiping up, make sure to do it in an S shape. Right. I followed White's advice and made sure to disinfect thoroughly. Seeing how seriously I took my work, she was very impressed. "You really catch on quickly, you're diligent and honest. I wish you could work here forever," she said with a cheerful laugh. "Until recently, you seemed so down that a strong breeze might have carried you away. Anyway, once we're done, it's time for lunch break. Let's go eat something delicious." Okay. When lunch break came, the cleaning crew who have been scattered throughout the hospital began to gather in our spacious break room. "Hey, what did you get today?" "I got the barbecue platter. How about you, White?" "I went with the grilled fish platter and a seasonal fruit set. The food here is so good, I look forward to it every day," she says with a laugh. Eating delicious food is the best, isn't it? While munching on the seasonal fruit set, White shows a broad smile. She's on the plumper side and has the vibe of a motherly figure, both in looks and personality, always taking good care of others. "Really, the food here is so good. Until now, I just used to change the fillings in my rice balls every day. Lately, I've been eating properly, and I think I've gained a little weight," I say. Hearing this, White looks at me and laughs. "Jack, that's something you shouldn't say in front of me. If you think you've gained weight, what does that make me?" Ha ha ha, being called skinny by someone like Jack really is something, huh? As laughter filled the room, I found myself laughing along. Ever since I came to this workplace, I've found myself laughing so much more. It's hard to believe that not so long ago, I was living like a lifeless zombie, going through my days without any energy. It's great to see you cheerful, Jack. Humans need to eat their fill of delicious food, sleep well, and laugh a lot. That's the basics of life, you know. Hearing that, I deeply realized that I hadn't even been following those basics until now. Yes, and all of this is thanks to you, White. Thank you so much for inviting me to this job. Nah, we're here for each other when times get tough. White is always bright and energetic. I truly appreciated her for that. But one day, I noticed she wasn't her usual self. Hey, White, is something wrong? Oh, Jack, you noticed? Actually, my granddaughter is sick. She was admitted to the hospital here yesterday. She's always been frail since she was little. She can't do much strenuous exercise and has been in and out of hospitals. It seemed like she was getting better recently, so I was relieved, but I guess I'm still worried. She said this and let out a deep sigh. Since she's in your area, Jack, could you maybe say hi to her sometimes if that's okay? Of course, that's fine, but how old is your granddaughter? It turns out she's going to be a senior in high school this year. She's been feeling down because she had to be hospitalized during a critical time for college entrance exams. And now she thinks she won't be able to get into her first choice college. Got it, I'll make sure to say hi next time. When I went to the room where her granddaughter was staying, there was a small-statured, cute girl with a smile, who seemed too young to be 18. Nice to meet you, I'm Jack, a colleague of your grandmother, White. You must be Mia. No, yes, my grandmother's colleague. I've heard a lot about you. Nice to meet you, I'm Mia. I noticed a somewhat large bag of trash at her side as she smiled gently. What's that? Oh, this? I was just gathering the trash in the room. I remember my grandmother often complaining about how picking up trash was a bit hard on her back. Is it a bother? It turns out she had taken the initiative to gather the trash from the 4-person room into one place. I was secretly moved by such thoughtfulness from a high school student these days. Well, thank you, that really helps. But you know, you don't have to push yourself too hard since you're in the hospital for your illness, right? No, not at all. I'm not pushing myself. I'm happy to help out however I can. After all, being in the hospital is pretty boring, right? Indeed, I've heard that being in the hospital often leaves one with not much to do and a lot of free time. Wait, but weren't you going to study for your entrance exams? That's what my grandmother told you, right? Well, yes, I do need to study. But solving practice questions alone, I just get stuck. Really? How about you show me some of those questions? Sure, but the workbook she showed me turned out to be something I could somewhat manage to solve. I think I could manage to teach this. After I'm done with my chores, I could help you study for a bit. Back in the day, I used to tutor as a part-time job. Really? Would that be okay? Yay, if you're okay with it, Mia. Of course, thank you so much. After that, Mia and I started talking more. During the day, Mia would work through her workbooks. And after I finished my work, she'd ask me about anything she didn't understand. It's amazing, Jack, you solved everything so smoothly. Did you by any chance graduate from a prestigious university? Not at all. My family wasn't wealthy, so I had to study hard and graduated college on a scholarship. Tutoring was just to earn living expenses. Well, that's interesting. Oh, by the way, my grandma was praising you the other day. She said you pick up on everything so quickly. I wouldn't say that, but getting praised definitely feels good. Lately, I've found myself laughing more and more. Then, a man appeared. Is that you, Jack? Oh, Brown. It was Brown, a classmate from high school days. He works as a doctor at this hospital and is Mia's primary physician. I had heard about her doctor from her, so I knew it was my classmate, Brown. You and Dr. Brown know each other? When Mia expressed her surprise, Brown looked at me and laughed teasingly. Yeah, this guy and I go way back to our high school days. He's always been the smart one, much smarter than me. Well, so you really are smart. If Jack's teaching you, you're definitely going to make it to a good college. Hey, you really think so? Yeah, no doubt about it. Mia seemed quite pleased to receive Brown's praise. Thinking there might be a checkup afterwards, I decided to leave first, and after a while, Brown followed me out. Jack, I was surprised to see you after so long. Is that so? Yeah, I'm doing some cleaning work here now. Really, I was surprised when I heard. I wondered why you'd choose that, but maybe it's been good for you. It's nice to see you looking lively again. Was I really that bad? Yeah, you know how zombies are all the rage in pop culture now. I almost thought I was seeing one in real life. You were so pale, I was wondering if you were still alive, you know. I see, so that's how I look to you. Indeed, it wouldn't have been strange to compare my past self to a zombie. Nothing was going right, and I felt isolated from everyone around me. But hey, it's great that you're feeling better now. If there's anything I can do, just let me know, okay? Thanks, sorry for worrying you. No, I should be the one thanking you. Mia was in pretty low spirits before she met you, Jack. It's almost surprising to see her laughing now. Mia was. The girl I know is always energetic and cheerful. Though she's petite and looks pale, she's a kind soul who cares about those around her. That girl, she actually has a heart condition, and it's getting to the point of heart failure now. It's progressing slowly, so it doesn't look as bad on the outside, but she might only have about 6 months left. I was shocked to hear Brown's words. Knowing she was hospitalized in cardiology, I suspected she had a heart condition, but I didn't realize it was so severe. Recently, I explained her condition to her parents and recommended surgery. But the success rate of the surgery is low. And if she undergoes it now, she'd have to give up on college, right? Everyone's really divided about it. She says she doesn't want the surgery. What? Why? Even if the surgery delays her college entry by a year, she can make up for it in the grand scheme of things, right? I just can't figure out why. She won't talk about it when I ask. So, Jack, I was thinking maybe you could find out from her why she doesn't want the surgery. Could I ask you to do that? Certainly, I could ask her. But is it right for me, having met her just a few weeks ago, to probe so deeply? No, her life is at stake. There's no time for hesitations. The next day, when I went to clean Mia's room, she was there gathering trash as usual. But, glancing at her, she looked paler than normal. Mia, you seem under the weather. Don't push yourself when you're feeling just stressed, okay? When I tried to take the trash from her, she recoiled her hand. Startled, she made a sad face and murmured in a small voice. Because, this is all I can do. Ever since I was little, I've been frail and couldn't do anything, always causing trouble for my parents and grandma. My grandma shouldn't have to work, but she does, to pay for my surgery, even though it hurts her back to clean. At school, I couldn't participate in cleaning duties, clubs, or any responsibilities. Everyone kept saying it was unfair, just for Mia. Indeed, I've heard she's been frail since childhood. She must have always felt a burden for not being able to do what others could. That's why, if there's a low chance of surviving the surgery, I thought maybe it's okay to give up. I don't want to be a burden anymore. This faulty heart of mine, it's okay if it stops anytime now. It was an unexpected confession. In such a situation, a family member or her primary doctor would surely persuade her otherwise, encouraging the surgery. But I felt I really didn't have the right to say that. Listen, Mia, if anyone's useless, it's probably me. I sacrificed my family to go to college. And when I finally got a job, until recently, I had no motivation to do anything, feeling like someone like me wasn't needed in this world. You too, Jack. Yay, being older, it's even more pathetic. PFFD, what part of it is pathetic? From my point of view, Jack, you're definitely a cool guy. If you say that, then Mia, you're an absolutely gorgeous girl. Wahahaga, what's that? We looked at each other and laughed. The gloomy atmosphere from before was nowhere to be found. She was laughing, holding her stomach. That's funny, but you're right. It's wrong to decide everything based on my own standards of value. Is it okay for someone like me to want to live more? Of course it is, Mia. You're definitely worth it. Jack, thank you. I'll talk things over properly with my dad and mom. I want to learn more things. I want to live longer. Yeah, that's right. She showed a much softer expression than before and went back into her room. I watched her go before returning to my cleaning. Hearing her true feelings in such an unexpected moment. But now, she'll surely agree to the surgery. I felt hopeful. After a while, Brown came to me looking happy. He told me she had decided to go through with the surgery. Now, all that was left was to find a doctor skilled enough to perform the difficult procedure. Since it was lunch break, we headed to the drink corner to get something to drink. Looks like you've been eating properly these days. Thanks to you, I'm now having 3 meals a day plus snacks. I'm sleeping well at night too. I'm rediscovering what being healthy feels like. Just as we were about to buy our drinks, Brown's pager went off. Hey, another call. Just as I was feeling sorry for Brown for barely getting a lunch break, his face turned pale instantly upon answering the call. What, Mia has? This is bad. If she's having an episode now, it could be serious. I'm on my way. From Brown's conversation, I realized something had happened to Mia. Jack, can you come with me? Yes. Pulled along by Brown, we rushed to her side, finding her having a seizure on the ground. Brown immediately checked her heartbeat, but her complexion was deathly pale, and her lips were turning purple. This is bad. She won't last another 10 minutes at this rate. What, aren't you her primary doctor? Can't you do something? This is impossible for me. That procedure is too much for me to handle. And you're just going to give up. I want to save her too, but some things are just impossible. Brown has always been an excellent doctor. Yet here he is, daunted by a difficult surgery. That shows just how challenging this operation is. But is it okay to just leave it at that? I made up my mind and told Brown. If that's the case, then I'll perform the surgery. Jack, are you seriously considering doing it? 10 minutes is more than enough. Brown, can you assist? Understood. Brown gave instructions to the ward's nurses before heading to the operating room with me. The emergency operating room staff, surprised to see me, stopped what they were doing. I bowed deeply to everyone. I'm truly sorry for everything up until now. I just have to save her. Just this once is fine. Just this time, please lend me your strength. Beside me, bowing just as deeply, was Brown. I'm asking too, with his skills, we can save the patient, please. Then, everyone preparing for the operation turned to us and said, "The patient's life is our top priority. Please start the operation quickly." Thank you. Then, I entered the operating room for the first time in a long while and performed the difficult surgery on her. It was a challenging procedure that had to be completed in a limited time. But I had skilled, seriously honed hands. I wanted to protect Mia's smile. I desperately wanted to save her. The surgery, fueled by such wishes, was successfully completed, saving her life. After the operation, her condition was stable. After spending a few days under observation in the ICU, she was safely back in her room. She's still asleep due to the medication, but she should be waking up soon. White, who rushed over upon hearing her granddaughter had collapsed, broke down in tears of relief at the news of her safety. Later, when Brown told her that I was the one who performed the surgery, she was quite surprised. "Jack, you saved her, didn't you? I can't thank you enough. I don't know how to express my gratitude." "No need for thanks. Actually, I should be the one thanking you. If you hadn't spoken to me that time, I don't know where I would be right now. You're really too kind." As White and I waited for Mia to wake up, her eyes slowly began to open. As her gaze wandered, finding White and then me, a spark of life returned to her eyes. "Grandma." "Mia, are you okay? Did I make it?" "Yes, Jack saved you." Hearing White's words, Mia looked surprised. "Why, Jack did." It's natural for her to be puzzled. To her, I'm just a janitor. When you collapsed, I just happened to be with Brown. We were lucky, that's all. But even Dr. Brown had said it was a difficult surgery. But you, Jack, you did it right. Who are you exactly? Actually, I'm a surgeon working at this hospital." "What?" Surprised, Mia's eyes widened, and I, feeling a bit embarrassed, began to talk about myself. I was a surgeon working at this hospital. Formally, I'm still enrolled in the surgical department. But for certain reasons, I was given time off by the department head, and here I am, pretending to be a janitor. Back when I was in elementary school, a truck swerved onto the sidewalk, and to protect me, my mom had sacrificed herself. If she had been rescued sooner, she might have been saved. Because I had no power, I blamed myself. And to never feel this way again, I decided to become a doctor. I studied desperately. Thanks to my efforts, I got into a prestigious university's medical school, got my medical license, and started working at this hospital. But perhaps because of my serious nature, and my goal to save as many people as possible, my attitude seemed to be awful. It started with calling out a doctor who drank the night before surgery, to reprimanding staff for minor mistakes. There was no end to it. Because I performed a significantly higher number of surgeries, I was recognized as a skilled surgeon, but behind my back, I was called the aloof know-it-all. One day, Brown couldn't stand my attitude any longer and spoke to me. "Look, Jack, you're definitely a talented surgeon. But you know surgery isn't a one-man show, right? From the anesthesiologists to the assistants, the scrub nurses, everyone's support is what makes a surgery successful. I know that. If you know that, then why is your attitude so bad? You don't even say a word of thanks after surgery, do they say?" I was well aware that my attitude was poor. At first, I made sure to say my greetings and thanks properly. But at some point, everyone's attitude towards me turned cold. Even when I pointed out mistakes, they wouldn't apologize, much less respond. If I greeted them first, no one would greet me back anymore. Gradually becoming more stubborn, I became even more on edge, determined never to make a mistake myself. Naturally, my tone with other staff became sharper. One day, I was called into the chief surgeon's office. "Doctor, I heard you wanted to talk to me." "Yeah, Jack, I just had a talk with the head nurse of the surgery room. And it's been decided that you'll be taken off surgeries for a while." "What? Why? Did I make some major mistake?" I was shocked by the sudden words from the surgical department head and raised my voice. But the words that followed truly crushed me. Well, essentially, your dismissive attitude towards the staff has become too much. Nurses are refusing to assist in your surgeries, essentially boycotting you. Even the doctors are saying they'd rather not be your assistant. We're at a loss here. How about you take some time off for a while? A boycott. It meant that the doctors and nurses didn't want to work with me. Realizing I was disliked to such an extent felt like being struck by lightning. I felt drained of all strength, and my mind refused to think any further. You should learn a bit more about socializing. It's hard to reflect on yourself while you're working. Take it easy until things cool down. You have some paid leave left, after all. Yes, I'm sorry for causing trouble. After that, I have no memory of what I did. Next thing I knew, I was sitting alone on a bench on the hospital roof, being removed from surgeries, and told that outpatient and ward consultations would be handled by someone else. Essentially, it was as if they said I was no longer needed at this hospital. Feeling completely denied for all the work I had done, without even proper sleep or meals. Haha, what have I been doing all this time? I just didn't feel like doing anything anymore. As I was sitting there, zoned out, someone suddenly spoke to me from behind. Hey, you've been sitting here since this morning, haven't you? Got nothing to do? The one who spoke to me was White, who cleans around the hospital. I didn't know her, but it seemed she knew quite a bit about me. I know about you. You stayed late after everyone else had gone, working hard, didn't you? People were wondering when you ever took a break. Hearing that, tears naturally started to flow from my eyes. There was someone who had been watching over me. White stayed with me until I stopped crying. Then, she made me an offer. Hey, if you're free, how about helping out with our work? We're a contracted cleaning company. If you're okay with the low hourly wage, I can start showing you the ropes tomorrow. You could use some fresh air. Invited by White as such, I just nodded along. Honestly, anything was fine. I wanted to move, to be somewhere I was needed. That was all. But when I started cleaning at the hospital, I noticed something surprising. First, wearing the cleaning crew's uniform, no one noticed me. It became clear how much doctors and nurses work without a care to their surroundings, whether due to a lack of time or focus. Jack, you won't have any energy if you're that skinny. Eat this. Before I could even reply, more food was added to my plate. I enjoyed these conversations with the cleaning ladies. Since my mom passed away, I hadn't had many chances to talk with older women, and their straightforwardness felt comforting. They were all kindly nosy in the best way. Surrounded by White and the ladies meddling, I gradually healed. It felt almost unbelievable that I used to struggle with social interactions. I could greet, thank, and have normal conversations. Maybe cleaning is more suited for me. If possible, I'd like to keep doing this. As I said that, Brown's voice came from behind me. No, that would be a problem. Behind Brown, for some reason, there were 3 nurses from the operating room. Since you stopped performing surgeries, it seems everyone has been having a tough time. Go on, tell him what you're thinking. He said, addressing the nurses behind him. Jack, we're so sorry, we went too far. We're ashamed for blaming you for things we couldn't do ourselves. Doctor, we're truly sorry. Won't you come back to the front lines? With that, they all bowed to me at once. They were the 3 nurses who often assisted in my surgeries. Now, I can clearly see how terribly I had treated them. It was my fault. Lift your heads, you did nothing wrong. It was just my bad attitude, I said. After raising their heads at my words, they also spoke to Mia before leaving the room. Then Mia asked me, So, what will you do, Jack? Stop it. I want you and White to treat me as usual, okay? Okay, but, although you look cool cleaning, seeing you in a lab coat is even cooler, so if I had a preference. Ahaha, Mia, thank you, I said. Then, White, you have been listening, said to me with a bright voice. Can't be helped, you're off our company's payroll now, there's a place that needs you more. Jack, you should return to where you truly belong. White. After that, the doctors from the surgical department also came to see me, apologizing before leaving. I ended up feeling even more apologetic, bowing deeply in return. The head of the surgical department, having heard about the surgery, also asked me to come back, and my leave ended in less than a month. Everyone, I'm truly sorry for any trouble I've caused. Moving forward, I hope to continue working hard with all of your support. I'm determined to make a fresh start, so please, I ask for your kindness. When I apologized sincerely, everyone nodded their approval warmly. Thus, I safely returned to the medical department. Since then, Mia has been recovering smoothly, and today, she is being discharged from the hospital. As White came to pick her up, Mia tells me with a bright smile, Jack, I've decided to take the medical school entrance exams and become a doctor like you. Because of my illness, I felt like I couldn't be of help to anyone, so from now on, I want to do a job where I can help people. She says she will now dedicate herself to studying to become a doctor. Mia, you say you weren't of help to anyone. But your smile has saved White, your parents, and everyone else, that includes me. Your cheerfulness and smile truly saved me. So, please don't say such sad things anymore, okay? So, I was of some help to you, Jack. Of course, that's why I want you to keep smiling always. That sounds almost like a confession from you to me, doesn't it? I'm kind of happy. Hearing that, White playfully teased me with a bright voice. That's wonderful, a good boy like Jack becoming my grandson-in-law. I'd welcome that with open arms. Grandma, you're getting ahead of yourself. As she said this with flushed cheeks, I watch her fondly, never imagining at that moment that, in a few years, it would become a reality. Since then, I've been working closely with other doctors and nurses, advancing in my job with proper communication. The time spent with White and the cleaning ladies was short but became a precious part of my life. Even after returning to my doctor's duties, I sometimes visit the janitor's break room. Visiting with tasty treats in hand, I become an idol among the ladies. Now, I find such days incredibly enjoyable. Today, as I was about to visit White and the others with some sweets in hand, Brown called out to me. Hey, have to do your idol activities again today. Yeah, I heard we got some new crew members, so I thought I'd drop by to say hello. It's hard to believe you're the same person from a few months ago. Never knew you'd be such a hit with the ladies. He said with a light laugh. Then Brown's expression suddenly turned serious, and he brought up the topic of the operating room nurses. By the way, do you remember the nurse who was the head of the operating room? Vaguely. Did you know she left the hospital a month ago? Yeah, I remember a nurse who worked with me in surgery mentioned that. She felt somewhat avoided by that head nurse, but she didn't know the details. I see, actually, it turns out she was the mastermind behind you being sidelined. What? It was a complete shock to me. I hardly had any interactions with her, so I had no clue why she would dislike me so much. I heard it from one of the operating room nurses recently. She was the one framing you, stirring up the staff's resentment to push them into boycotting you. A nurse who was close to the head nurse began to wonder and bravely confronted her when she was leaving the job. She was the daughter of the driver involved in the accident that entangled your mom. What, the truck driver? It seems that way. At the time of the accident, the driver, her father, had a heart attack while driving, losing the main breadwinner of the family in such a way. As the perpetrator of an accident, it seems she and her family went through hellish days. I see. Traffic accidents bring immense tragedy to the victims, but they can also bring an enormous tragedy to the perpetrators, in a sense. Having lost my mother at a young age, I could never fully grasp that perspective. I harbored resentment towards the other party involved in the accident, but never once felt pity for them. That's the truth. But she, having been forced into poverty from a young age, didn't know where to direct her bitterness, becoming a nurse to support her mother, who ended up a single mother. It was by chance that she ended up working at a hospital where the victim of the accident was. Jack is a rare name. She probably remembered it from the victims list after the accident. Then, seeing the victim living comfortably off the settlement money, becoming an arrogant doctor right before her eyes, at least, that's how she must have seen it. That's not true. We never had an easy life. Of course, but she had no way of knowing about your family's circumstances. You were just a convenient target for her to take out years of pent-up resentment on. Hearing Brown's words, I was shocked once again. But indeed, there were moments that came to mind. Although my attitude wasn't commendable, there was a time when staff stopped responding to my greetings. That was the trigger for me to become even more stubborn, but I never imagined someone was working against me behind the scenes. After you stopped performing surgeries, the truth is, the place really struggled. After all, there was no one else who could handle the complex operations like you could. And everyone started wondering, why has Jack stopped doing surgeries? Upon reflection, they realized it wasn't something to boycott work over. After that, it seems she became the one distanced by everyone else. So, she gave up on involving herself with me, and decided to leave the hospital on her own. Actually, I thought it was none of my business, but after hearing that story, I couldn't keep quiet. I went and complained to her. I told her about all the struggles you've faced since your student days. She apologized sincerely, saying she was out of line and wanted to apologize to you as well. Even if she says that now, it doesn't really change anything. If you're inclined, you could sue her for defamation, you know. No, it's okay. It's infuriating, but this whole ordeal has been a learning experience for me. Plus, I've made a lot of good acquaintances. Like me and White. Yay, and some wonderful ladies too. We laughed and went our separate ways. After that, I was warmly welcomed by White and the others, and we had a delightful tea time. After that, I spent some time thinking about the former operating room head nurse who had resigned. It was surprising to learn she was involved in this case. But I believe that if she hadn't accidentally met me, she might have lived a more peaceful life. Considering she became a nurse, she must have wanted to help someone. Thinking back on the accident makes me feel helpless. If it weren't for that accident, I might not be here right now. I would have lived blissfully unaware. But now, I am here because I want to help someone, which is why I became a doctor. Mia feels the same. She wants to become a doctor to help others, thinking she caused trouble for everyone because of her illness. However, that is merely hindsight. Whether a doctor, a nurse, an office worker, or a homemaker, everyone is living their lives with all they've got. Regardless of the profession, everyone is playing a part in helping someone. Living is making a profit in it of itself, someone once said. I truly believe that's the case. and as long as I live, I aim to continue working hard to save people.